The night the FBI knocked on my door, I finally understood, I was never his wife. I was his shield. My name is Sophia. I'm 38 years old now, and I'm telling you this story because I need someone to know the truth before it's too late. Before they find me, before the silence swallows everything I've lived through. I met Marco Castellano in the spring of 2009. I was 21, working double shifts at a diner in Queens, saving every dollar for nursing school. He walked in one Tuesday afternoon. Expensive watch, perfect suit, smile that could melt steel. He ordered coffee, black, left me $100 tip on a $3 check. "What's this for?" I asked him. "Your smile," he said. "It's the first real thing I've seen all week." I should have known right then. Real men don't talk like that. But I was young and tired and my father had just died, and Marco looked at me like I was something precious instead of just another waitress refilling cups. He came back every day for 2 weeks. Always the same table, always black coffee. We talked about everything, my dreams of becoming a nurse, his family business, which he described vaguely as import-export, logistics, that kind of thing. He never pushed, never rushed. He was patient in a way that felt like safety. On the 15th day, he asked me to dinner. "Somewhere nice," he said. "You deserve somewhere nice, Sophia." I wore my only good dress. He picked me up in a black Mercedes. Took me to a restaurant in Manhattan where they knew his name. Where the owner himself came out to shake his hand and call him Mr. Castellano, with this tone of respect mixed with something else. Something I couldn't name yet. Fear, that's what it was. Fear, but I didn't see it. Or I didn't want to see it. Marco was charming, thoughtful. He asked about my mother, my younger brother, my father's death from cancer the year before. He listened, really listened. When I cried talking about my dad, he handed me his handkerchief without making me feel weak. "Family is everything," he said. "Without family, we're nothing." I believed him. We dated for 8 months before he proposed. 8 months of nice restaurants and weekend trips to the Hamptons and meeting his family. His mother, Rosa, who hugged me like I was already her daughter. His father, Dominic, who barely spoke but watched everything with these cold, calculating eyes. His younger brother, Tony, who joked around but had this edge underneath, this violence waiting to come out. His sister, Angela, was the only one who seemed normal. She pulled me aside at Sunday dinner once and said, "You sure about this, honey? This family, it's not what you think." "What do you mean?" I asked. She just looked at me for a long moment, then shook her head. "Never mind, you'll figure it out." I didn't understand. I thought she was talking about typical in-law drama. Controlling mother, distant father. I had no idea. Marco proposed on Christmas Eve, 2009. Got down on one knee in front of his whole family. Pulled out a ring that must have cost more than I made in 2 years. Everyone clapped. His mother cried. His father nodded once, like he was approving a business deal. "Say yes, Sophia," Marco whispered. "Make me the happiest man alive." I said yes. We got married in June 2010. Big wedding, 300 people, half of them I'd never met. Men in expensive suits who kissed Marco on both cheeks and called him, "Compare." Women dripping in jewelry who looked at me with curiosity, pity, or envy. I couldn't tell which. The priest who married us seemed nervous. His hands shook when he held the Bible. I told myself I was imagining things. The first year of marriage was like a dream. Marco bought us a house in Westchester. 5 bedrooms, pool, security gate. Way more than we needed, but he insisted. "I want you to have everything," he said. "You grew up with nothing. Now you'll never want for anything again." He was gone a lot. "Business," he'd say. "The logistics company needs me." He'd leave early, come home late, sometimes not until 2 or 3 in the morning. He'd smell like cigarettes and cologne and sometimes, underneath it all, something metallic. Something that made my stomach turn. But he was always gentle with me. Always loving. He'd bring me flowers, jewelry, once, a brand new car, just because. "Marco, this is too much," I said. "Nothing's too much for you," he replied. I got pregnant in the fall of 2011. Marco was overjoyed. His mother was overjoyed. The whole family celebrated like I'd performed a miracle. A son, his father said at dinner. It'll be a son. I can feel it. What if it's a girl? I asked. Dominic looked at me like I'd said something stupid. It'll be a son. It was a girl. We named her Isabella. Marco held her in the hospital and cried. Real tears. She's perfect, he kept saying. She's absolutely perfect, Sophia. For a moment, I thought maybe everything would be okay. Maybe this was just a normal family with normal problems. Maybe I'd been paranoid. Then 2 days after we brought Isabella home, 3 men showed up at our house at midnight. I was upstairs nursing the baby when I heard voices. Angry voices. I put Isabella in her crib and crept to the top of the stairs. Marco was in the foyer with 3 men I'd never seen before. They were big, rough-looking. One had a scar across his cheek. You're 2 weeks late, Marco, Scarface said. I know. Things have been crazy. The baby just. Nobody gives a fuck about your baby. Vinny wants his money. Tell Vinny he'll have it by Friday. Vinny doesn't do extensions anymore. Not after what happened to Polly. There was a long silence. Then Marco said, very quietly, what happened to Polly? You don't want to know. But if you're late again, you'll find out firsthand. They left. Marco stood in the foyer for a full minute, not moving. Then he punched the wall so hard I heard the drywall crack. I went back to the bedroom, heart pounding. The next morning, I asked him about it. Who were those men last night? Marco's face went blank. Smooth. What men? The ones who came to the house. The ones talking about money. You must have been dreaming, baby. Postpartum stress. Nobody came here. Marco, I heard them. I saw them. He walked over, took my face in his hands. Sophia, look at me. You're exhausted. You just had a baby. Your mind is playing tricks. Okay? The way he looked at me. The way his voice was so calm, so certain. I started to doubt myself. Okay, I whispered. That was the first lie I let myself believe. Isabella was 3 months old when I found the gun. I was putting away laundry in Marco's closet when I knocked over a shoebox. It fell, and out spilled a handgun. Black, heavy looking, and beneath it, stacks of cash. Hundreds, maybe $20,000, just sitting there in a shoebox. I heard the garage door open. Marco was home. I shoved everything back in the box, put it on the shelf, went downstairs with my heart racing. Hey, beautiful, Marco said, kissing me. How's my girls? Good, we're good. He studied my face. You sure? You look pale, just tired. That night, after he fell asleep, I went back to the closet. Looked at the box again. This time I really looked. 3 guns, multiple burner phones, cash, and underneath it all, a small black notebook filled with numbers and names and cryptic notes I couldn't understand. I took a picture of one page with my phone. Just one. I don't know why. Insurance. Maybe. Evidence. Proof I wasn't crazy. The next day, I tried to research some of the names online. Most were common, but one stood out. Vincent, Vinny the Shark, Calabrese. Known associate of the Lucchese crime family. Suspected in multiple murders. Currently under federal investigation. I felt like I couldn't breathe. That night, I confronted Marco. I found your guns, I said. And the money, and the notebook. He went very still. You went through my things. This is my house too. Marco, our house. What the hell is all that? Protection. Protection from what? The world is dangerous, Sophia. Especially when you have money. I keep cash and protection. That's smart. And the names in the notebook? Vincent Calabrese? The mobster? Marco's jaw tightened. Where did you hear that name? I looked it up. He's in the news. He's connected to the Mafia, Marco. Jesus Christ, Sophia. You can't just Google random names from my private things. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Dangerous how? Why would it be dangerous unless? Unless what? Unless I'm what? A criminal? He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Is that what you think of me? I don't know what to think anymore. He moved closer, not threatening, exactly, but intense. You think I'd put you and Isabella in danger? You think I'm some kind of monster? Then explain it to me. I can't. Why not? Because the less you know, the safer you are. Trust me, Sophia, please. And God help me, I wanted to trust him. I wanted to believe my husband, the father of my child, the man who held me at night and told me he loved me, was a good person. So I did. I stopped asking questions, but I didn't stop noticing. I noticed that the business associates who came to the house always seemed dangerous. Hard. They spoke in code. They called Marco Skip, which I later learned was short for skipper, a term for a mafia captain. I noticed that we never went anywhere without security. 2 guys in a car behind us. Always. I noticed that certain restaurants never gave us a bill. The owner would just wave us off. Honor to service. Please come back soon. I noticed that Marco started coming home with injuries. Bruised knuckles, a black eye once, slipped at the warehouse, he'd say. Every time, a different excuse. I noticed that phone calls would come in the middle of the night and Marco would disappear for hours, sometimes days. I noticed that Isabella's first birthday party had more men in suits than children. I noticed everything and said nothing. Because I was scared, not of Marco, of what would happen if I acknowledged the truth. In early 2013, Marco's father died. Heart attack, they said, but the way everyone whispered at the funeral made me think otherwise. At the wake, I overheard 2 men talking. Dominic knew too much. He was going to talk. Bullshit. Dominic was old school. He'd never flip. Then why'd they find him in the car like that? Heart attack, my ass. I felt sick. After the funeral, Marco changed. Got harder, more distant. He started drinking. Not a lot, but enough that I noticed. He'd sit in his study for hours, door locked, phone calls in Italian I couldn't understand. One night I heard him screaming at someone. I don't care what Vinny says. That's not how we do things. My father didn't die for this. A crash, something breaking, then silence. I went to the study door, knocked softly. Marco, you okay? Long pause. Then, go to bed, Sophia. Let me help. You can't help with this. Try me. The door opened. Marco stood there, eyes red, glass of whiskey in his hand. Behind him, the study was a mess. Papers everywhere, a laptop smashed on the floor. You want to help? He said. Then stop asking questions. Stop looking at me like I'm a stranger. Just be my wife and let me handle the rest. I am your wife. That's why I'm asking. No, he pointed at me. A wife trusts. A wife stands by her husband. A wife doesn't go through his shit and Google names and make him feel like a criminal in his own home. Are you? I whispered. A criminal? He stared at me for a long moment. Then he closed the door in my face. I stood there, shaking. The next morning, he apologized. Brought me flowers. Took Isabella to the park. Acted like everything was fine. I played along, but something had broken between us. In the fall of 2013, I got pregnant again. Marco was thrilled. I was terrified, because by then, I knew. I knew exactly what Marco did for a living. I knew he was a captain in what remained of the Lucchese family. I knew he ran illegal gambling operations, loan sharking, labor racketeering. I knew the logistics company was a front. I knew the men who came to our house were soldiers and associates. I knew the money in the closet came from crime. I knew, and I said nothing. Because I had a daughter. And another baby on the way. And leaving meant putting them in danger. Leaving meant Marco's family would never let me go. Leaving meant the FBI might come after me as a cooperating witness. I was trapped. Our son, Michael, was born in May 2014. Marco held him and whispered, "This is my legacy. This is everything." I looked at my beautiful baby boy and felt nothing but dread. Because I knew what legacy Marco meant. And I knew Michael would either follow it or die trying to escape it. The same way I was dying, slowly, trapped in this golden cage. Things got worse after Michael was born. The FBI started circling. I noticed cars parked on our street. Different cars, different people, but always watching. Marco noticed too. He installed more security cameras. Hired more guards. Started using burner phones exclusively. Are we in danger? I asked one night. We're always in danger, he said flatly. That's the life. What life, Marco? What exactly is the life? He looked at me like I was stupid. You know what it is, Sophia. You've known for years. Don't play innocent now. I never wanted this. Too late. You married into it. You had my children. You're in it whether you like it or not. There it was. Finally, the truth said out loud. I started to cry. Marco softened, came over, held me. Hey, I'm sorry. I'll keep you safe. I promise. You and the kids. Nothing will touch you. Okay? I nodded into his chest. But I didn't believe him. In early 2015, the arrests started. First Tony, Marco's brother, racketeering charges. Then 3 of Marco's associates. Then 2 more. The FBI was building a case, slowly dismantling the organization. Marco became paranoid. He swept the house for bugs weekly. He stopped talking business anywhere near home. He made me get rid of my smartphone and use a burner. They're listening, he'd say. They're always listening. One night, Angela called me. Get out, Sophia. Take the kids and get out. What are you talking about? Marco's going down. They have him. It's just a matter of time. When they come for him, they'll freeze everything. The house, the accounts, all of it. You'll have nothing. He's your brother. That's why I'm calling. Because I love him, but I love you and those babies more. Get out. She hung up. I sat there in the dark, phone in my hand, and I almost did it. Almost packed a bag, grabbed the kids, ran. But where would I go? My mother lived in a tiny apartment in Queens. My brother was in California, barely making it himself. I had no money of my own. No job, no skills beyond waitressing, and I hadn't worked in years. I was completely dependent on Marco. And he knew it. The next morning, I found an envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside was a stack of cash and a note in Marco's handwriting, emergency fund. Just in case. Hide it. Tell no one, not even me. I love you. $20,000. I cried reading that note. Because it meant he loved me. And it meant he knew everything was about to fall apart. I hid the money in Isabella's room, inside a stuffed bear. 2 weeks later, the FBI came. Not for Marco, for me. It was 6 in the morning. I was making breakfast. Marco was already gone, left at 5 for a meeting. 3 loud knocks on the door. I looked through the peephole and saw badges. Mrs. Castellano? FBI. We need to talk. My hands started shaking. About what? Open the door, ma'am. I opened it. 2 agents, a man and a woman. Both in suits. Both with that look agents have. Calm, professional, predatory. Mrs. Castellano, I'm Agent Morrison. This is Agent Chen. Can we come in? Do I have a choice? You always have a choice, Morrison said. But we're going to talk either here or at the field office. Your call. I let them in. They sat at my kitchen table. I stood. Where are your children? Chen asked. Upstairs sleeping. Why? We're going to need to ask you some questions about your husband's business activities. I don't know anything about his business. Morrison smiled. Not friendly. Mrs. Castellano, we've been investigating your husband for 3 years. We know everything. We know about the gambling, the loans, the protection rackets. We know he's a captain in the Lucchese family. We know he reports directly to Vincent Calabrese. My throat went dry. We also know, Chen continued, that significant amounts of money have been flowing through accounts in your name. Your signature is on documents. You're listed as part owner of several shell companies. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Morrison pulled out a folder. Showed me papers. My signature. My name. Companies I'd never heard of. I never signed these, I whispered. Are you sure? Look closely. I looked. It was my signature. My handwriting. Then I remembered. 2 years ago, Marco had brought me papers to sign. Just some paperwork for the business, baby. Routine stuff. I'd signed without reading. Oh God, I didn't know, I said. I didn't know what I was signing. Ignorance isn't a defense, Morrison said. You're implicated, Mrs. Castellano. When we arrest your husband, and we will, you'll be arrested too. Conspiracy, money laundering, RICO charges. I have children. We know. That's why we're here. We're offering you a way out. I sat down. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. What do you want? Chen leaned forward. We want Marco. We want him to testify against Vincent Calabrese. The whole organization. In exchange, we offer witness protection. New identities. New lives. For you and the children. And Marco? Reduced sentence. Maybe 10 years instead of life. You want me to convince him to turn informant. We want you to save your family. I laughed. It came out bitter, broken. You don't understand. If Marco even thinks about flipping, they'll kill him. They'll kill all of us. If he doesn't flip, Morrison said quietly, you'll all go to prison. Your daughter is what, 4 years old? Your son is 1? You want them visiting you in federal prison for the next 20 years? I put my head in my hands. Think about it, Chen said, standing up. You have 72 hours. After that, we're moving forward with or without your cooperation. They left. I sat at that kitchen table until Isabella came downstairs asking for breakfast. I made her pancakes with shaking hands. I didn't tell Marco about the FBI visit. For 3 days, I walked around in a fog, playing with the kids, making dinner, pretending everything was normal, while my mind raced. If I told Marco, he'd run, or he'd do something violent, or he'd think I was setting him up. If I didn't tell Marco, and the FBI arrested us both, I'd lose my children. If I convinced Marco to flip, his family would kill us all. If I did nothing, we'd all go to prison. There was no good choice. On the 3rd night, Marco came home late. He looked exhausted. Bad day? I asked. The worst. He poured himself a drink. Vinny's talking about expanding operations. Wants to move into new territory. It's going to cause a war. A war? With the other families. Everyone's already on edge because of the arrests. This could get very bloody very fast. He drank. Poured another. Marco, I said carefully. What if you got out? He looked at me. What? Got out of the business. We could leave. Go somewhere else. Start over. Sophia, you don't get out. You know that. Why not? People leave jobs all the time. This isn't a job. This is blood. This is family. You don't retire from family. Even if it kills you? Especially then. He finished his drink. This is who I am. Who we are. I thought you understood that. I understand you have children who need their father alive. My children need their father to be a man. To be strong. To provide. That's what I do. By breaking the law? His eyes went hard. Careful, Sophia. Or what? You'll hurt me? Add me to the list of people you've hurt? I've never hurt you. You've hurt me every day by lying to me. By making me complicit. By putting our children in danger. He stood up. I've given you everything. This house. This life. You wanted for nothing. I wanted a husband who wasn't a criminal. The words hung in the air. Marco's face went cold. Then you married the wrong man. He left. Slammed the door. Didn't come back that night. I cried until dawn. The next day, Agent Chen called my cell. Time's up, Mrs. Castellano. What's it going to be? I need more time. You don't have more time. We're executing search warrants tomorrow morning. If you want to cooperate, it has to be now. I can't. I need to talk to Marco first. Talk to him and he'll run. You know that. He's my husband. He's a criminal who's been using you as a shield for years. Wake up, Sophia. I hung up. That night, I sat Marco down. The FBI came to see me, I said. His face went white, then red. When? 4 days ago. 4 days? And you're just telling me now? I didn't know what to do. What did they want? They want you to testify against Vinny. Against everyone. They offered witness protection. Marco stood up, started pacing. Jesus Christ, Sophia. They showed me papers. With my signature. They said I'm implicated. That I'll be arrested too. Did you sign anything with them? Did you agree to anything? No, of course not. He grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me very carefully. You say nothing. You do nothing. You get a lawyer. You exercise your Fifth Amendment rights. You understand? Marco, they're coming tomorrow. With search warrants. Let them come. They won't find anything. They have evidence. They've been building a case for years. They have nothing or they wouldn't be trying to flip you first. What about the children? He let go of me, ran his hands through his hair. The children will be fine. How can you say that? If we both go to prison. We're not going to prison. You can't know that. I know that I'm not a rat. I know that my father didn't raise me to betray my family. And I know that you're going to stand by me. Like you promised. For better or worse. Remember? I looked at my husband. Really looked at him. And I saw a stranger. A man who valued his criminal code more than his children's future. A man who would let me go to prison rather than break Omerta. A man I'd stopped loving somewhere along the way without even noticing. I remember, I whispered. That night, while Marco slept, I packed bags for the kids. Just essentials, clothes, favorite toys, pictures. I took the emergency money from the stuffed bear. I wrote a note, I'm sorry. I have to protect them. Goodbye. At 4 a.m, I carried sleeping Isabella and Michael to the car. I drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove. I ended up at a motel in Pennsylvania. Paid cash. Didn't use my real name. At 7 a.m, my phone rang. Marco. I didn't answer. He called 17 times. Finally, I texted, we're safe. Don't look for us. He texted back, you just killed us all. I turned off the phone. For 3 days, I hid in that motel with my babies. Isabella kept asking where Daddy was. He had to go away for work, I said. When's he coming back? I don't know, baby. Michael was too young to understand. He just cried for his routine. On the 4th day, I saw the news. Major FBI bust in organized crime, 23 arrested in Lucchese family takedown. Marco's picture was on the screen. My stomach dropped. I kept watching. Among those arrested, Captain Marco Castellano, alleged head of gambling and loan sharking operations. Also sought for questioning, his wife, Sofia Castellano, who fled with their 2 minor children. They showed my picture, an old one, from our wedding. I looked so young, so happy, so stupid. I turned off the TV. We couldn't stay here. That night, I called Agent Chen from a payphone. I'm ready to talk, I said. Where are you? Somewhere safe. We can protect you, Sofia. Can you really? Because Marco's family has long arms. Witness protection doesn't always work. It works if you follow the rules. What do you want from me? Everything you know. Testify in court. Help us put away not just Marco, but the whole organization. And my children? New identities, new location. You'll never see anyone from your old life again. Never see Angela, never see Marco, even if I wanted to. Never go back to New York. Complete erasure. I need a guarantee, I said. There are no guarantees, just the best chance you've got. I closed my eyes. I'll do it. Smart choice. Where are you? We'll send agents to pick you up. I gave them the address. 2 hours later, 3 black SUVs pulled into the motel parking lot. Agents swarmed. They were polite, professional. They put us in the middle vehicle, gave Isabella a teddy bear, gave Michael a bottle. Where are we going? Isabella asked. On an adventure, Agent Chen said. Smiling at her, Isabella looked at me. Is Daddy coming? No, sweetie, I said softly. Not this time. We drove to a federal facility. Spent 3 weeks in protective custody while I told them everything. Every name I'd heard, every conversation I'd overheard, every document I'd signed, every suspicion I'd had. It wasn't enough to convict everyone, but it was enough to corroborate other evidence. Enough to build stronger cases. Enough to matter. Marco's lawyer reached out, wanted to negotiate. I refused to speak to him. The trial took a year. I testified, sat on that stand in a courtroom and told the truth about the man I'd married. Marco stared at me the whole time. Didn't blink, didn't look away. When I finished, he mouthed something. I think it was, I loved you. Or maybe it was, you betrayed me. I don't know. I looked away. The jury deliberated for 3 days. Guilty on all counts. Marco got 25 years. Vincent Calabrese got life. 19 others got various sentences. The Lucchese family operations in New York were crippled. And I became Sofia Moretti. New name, new life. We live in a small town in the Midwest now. I won't say where. Isabella is 14. She doesn't remember much about Marco. Sometimes she asks about her father. I tell her the truth. He made bad choices. He's paying for them. Do you miss him? She asked me once. I thought about it, really thought about it. I miss who I thought he was, I said. But that person never really existed. Michael is 12. He's never known his father. Sometimes I think that's a blessing. I work as a nurse now. Finally finished school. Night shifts at a hospital. It's quiet, anonymous, safe, but I still look over my shoulder. Because Marco's family is still out there. Diminished, but not gone. And mob families don't forget. They don't forgive. Last year, I got a letter. No return address. Postmarked from New York. Inside, just one sentence. We know where you are. I called my FBI handler. Probably just intimidation, he said. If they really knew, you'd already be dead. Not comforting. I increased security. Changed our routines. Warned the kids to be careful. But I can't live like this forever. None of us can. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I made the right choice. If I'd stayed silent, Marco and I would both be in prison, but the kids would have family. Grandparents, aunts and uncles. Instead, we're ghosts, cut off from everyone we knew. But we're alive, and we're free. Well, as free as you can be when you're always running. Isabella wants to go to college. She wants to study law. To help people, she says. Michael wants to be a doctor. They're good kids. Better than they should be, considering everything. They don't know the full story. Not yet. When they're older, I'll tell them. How their mother was a waitress who fell in love with a smile. How she ignored all the warning signs. How she chose comfort over conscience. How she waited too long to do the right thing. How she's been paying for it ever since. The truth is, I was complicit. Not legally, maybe. The FBI believed I didn't knowingly participate. But morally, I knew. I suspected. And I did nothing. For years, I did nothing. Because it was easier. Because I was scared. Because I loved him. And love makes you stupid. I think about the people Marco hurt. The gamblers who lost everything. The business owners who paid protection. The families destroyed by his operation. I was living off that money. Wearing jewelry bought with that money. Raising my children in a house built on other people's suffering. I tell myself I didn't know. But that's a lie. I knew. I just didn't want to know. There's a difference. Marco writes to me sometimes. Letters get forwarded through my handler. I don't open them. I did once. Just once. It said, I understand why you did it. I'd have done the same to protect our kids. I don't hate you, but I'll never forgive you. You were supposed to be different. You were supposed to stand by me. That's what family does, but you chose them over us. And that's something I can never get past. I hope you're happy. I hope it was worth it. Love always, Marco. I burned that letter, but I remember every word. Because he's right. I did choose. I chose the law over loyalty. I chose my children's future over my husband's freedom. I chose to be a witness instead of a wife. And I'd do it again. Every time. Because those babies deserved better than a legacy of crime. They deserved a chance. Isabella is top of her class now. Michael is on the honor roll. They have friends. They have normal lives. They don't wake up to FBI raids. They don't hear their father on the phone ordering violence. They don't find guns in the closet. That's worth everything I lost. Everything we all lost. Last week, I saw Angela. She found me. I don't know how. Maybe she has resources. Maybe someone in the organization figured it out. She showed up at the hospital. Waited in the parking lot. I almost ran. Almost called the FBI. But she looked old, tired, sad. I'm not here to hurt you, she said. I just wanted to see if you were okay. We sat in her car and talked for an hour. She told me Rosa died 2 years ago. Heartbroken, she said, after Marco went to prison. She told me Tony got out early on good behavior. He's living in Florida, trying to go straight. She told me the family business is gone. Scattered, everyone either dead, in prison, or in hiding. It's over, she said. Everything my father built, everything Marco tried to protect. All of it, gone. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be. It needed to end. It should have ended a long time ago. We sat in silence for a while. Then she asked, do you regret it? Every day, I said honestly. But I'd do it again. She nodded. That's what I thought. Before she left, she handed me an envelope. From Marco, she said. He wanted you to have this. Inside was a picture. From our wedding day, Marco and me, smiling, young, hopeful. On the back, he'd written, I'm sorry I wasn't the man you needed. But I loved you the best way I knew how. Take care of our children. Tell them their father wasn't all bad. Please, Marco. I cried the whole drive home. Because despite everything, part of me still loves him. The him I thought I knew. The him that maybe existed for brief moments between the lies. But love isn't enough. It never was. That's what I'll tell my children when they're old enough. Love isn't enough when it's built on lies. Love isn't enough when it demands you compromise your morals. Love isn't enough when it puts you and your children in danger. Sometimes, love has to end. Even when it breaks you. Especially when it breaks you. Because you can survive broken. You can't survive complicit. I learned that the hard way. It's been 8 years since I left Marco. 8 years since that night the FBI knocked on my door and I finally understood. I was never his wife. I was his shield. A shield he hid behind while he committed crimes. A shield he'd throw away the second it suited him. But I'm not a shield anymore. I'm Sofia Moretti, mother, nurse, survivor. I'm the woman who chose right over easy. Who chose truth over loyalty. Who chose life over omerta. And someday, my children will understand. Someday, they'll see that walking away was the bravest thing I ever did. Not for me, for them, because they deserved a mother who stood up, even if she stood up too late, even if she's still paying the price, even if she always will. That's my story, that's my confession, and if you're listening to this, if you're in a situation like I was, if you see the signs and you're ignoring them because it's easier, because you love him, because you're scared, please don't wait as long as I did, because the longer you wait, the harder it gets to leave. And the more complicit you become. I know it's terrifying. I know you think you have no options. But you do. There's always a choice. It might be the hardest choice you ever make. But it's there. Take it, before it's too late. Before you become just another shield. Another wife who knew. Another woman telling this same story from the other side of everything she lost. Learn from my mistakes. Please. I'm telling you this because I wish someone had told me. I wish someone had shaken me and said, wake up. This won't end well. Get out now. So I'm saying it to you. Wake up. Get out. Save yourself. Save your children. It's not too late. Not yet. But it will be. Soon. That's how it works. That's how they trap you. Slowly. Carefully. Until you don't even realize you're trapped. Until you've invested so much that leaving feels impossible. But it's not impossible. I did it. You can too. I promise. It won't be easy. It won't be clean. But it will be worth it. Because freedom, real freedom, is worth everything. Even when it costs you everything. Especially then. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I needed you to hear. My name was Sofia Castellano. Now I'm someone else. And maybe that's how it should be. Maybe that's the price of choosing right. Losing who you were to become who you need to be. I'm still learning to live with that. Still learning to live with the choices I made. The choices I didn't make soon enough. But I'm alive. My children are alive. And we're building something new. Something clean. Something honest. Something worth protecting. That's enough. It has to be. Because there's no going back. There's only forward. One day at a time. One choice at a time. One breath at a time. That's how you survive. That's how you heal. That's how you learn to live with the weight of everything you've done and everything you've lost. You just keep going. You just keep choosing right. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. And eventually, maybe, you find something like peace. I'm still looking for it. But I think I'm getting closer. I hope so. For Isabella's sake. For Michael's sake. For my own. We all deserve peace. Even me. Even after everything. That's what I tell myself on the hard days. The days I see Marco's face in Michael's smile. The days Isabella asks questions I can't answer. The days I get letters with no return address. The days I wonder if they'll ever find us. I tell myself, you did the right thing. You saved your children. You told the truth. You survived. And that has to be enough. It has to be. Because it's all I have. The truth, the consequences, and the hope that maybe, someday, it'll all make sense. Until then, I just keep going. That's my story. That's my truth. And I hope to God you never have to live it.